Let's talk about pre-planning for the Florida Long-Term Care Medicaid program. So when we're doing Medicaid planning in Florida, there are two scenarios or two time periods that people are usually thinking about this. Either right at the moment that they need the long-term care, like if they need an ALF or they need nursing home or aids in the home, and we usually refer to that as crisis planning. Crisis is a heavy word, but all it means is that we're doing the planning right when they need the services. We can do that in Florida, and we can protect all the assets because Florida gives us a lot of tools to use to shelter assets so that you don't outlive your money. The other type of planning is called proactive planning or pre-planning, and that is done much more often in other states because other states do not have quite as many tools that we do in Florida to do the planning right at the last minute. That being said, some people still want to do that proactive planning, which is okay. We do it here in Florida, but it's important to understand what that really means. What you're doing when you're doing proactive planning is you're transferring your assets, or at least part of your assets, to another person or to an irrevocable trust called a Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. And when you do that, you really are giving up those assets for the rest of your life. You cannot use or enjoy those assets. You cannot give them away and then enjoy them through the back door. That would be a sham. You can't do that. So you really have to be able to say that I am not going to need these assets for the rest of my life, and I'm going to transfer them to this person or this irrevocable Medicaid Asset Protection Trust because I might need the long-term care program in 5 years or more. So a lot of people don't want to do that. Once they understand what this really means, they don't want to give up that ownership and control of those assets. And so they know, I'm going to live my life. And then luckily here in Florida, we have assets, we have tools that we can use right up to the last minute. And so if they need it, then we'll do it then. And that's mostly where we in Florida are working, is in that crisis Medicaid planning, or at least in my firm, that's what we're doing. A couple points about the proactive planning. You can structure the trust if you choose the Medicaid Asset Protection Trust. You can structure it so that you get income from it. You can. The super conservative attorneys won't even do that because they don't even want that whole trust to become an issue at all. But you can receive income from it. Whatever assets are in it, if they're invested, if they're throwing off income, technically you could receive the income. But that's it. You can't receive the assets except in an emergency. There is kind of a way to get some assets out in an emergency situation, but it's not something you want to rely on or do often. Maybe once, if there's an emergency, that it can be done. And we'll go into details here because that's beyond the scope of this video. But I just wanted to give you just the general idea that you're really, if you want to do that proactive planning, you're giving up ownership and control of those assets. So one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to transfer assets or to another person or this trust, it is going to be a penalizable transfer if you need Medicaid within those 5 years. So if you think you need Medicaid in less than 5 years, do not do this. Talk to us and we can help you transfer everything. So if you're going to do those types of things, it will be a penalty if you need the Medicaid. So, we can help you figure out that timeline as well.